You can tell exactly who someone is just by the Jeep they drive. From the quiet millionaire who refuses an Escalade to the Wrangler owner who couldn't care less about comfort. Each model attracts a completely different personality, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. The Compass driver figured out what the rest of us are still learning the hard way. A buddy of mine pulls in serious money every month, and yet the man drives a Compass. I asked him why once over beers, and he looked at me and said, "I refuse to pay for room I will never sit in." That sentence right there is the personality of every Compass owner alive in America. You are the smart minimalist, and three types of humans end up buying this vehicle. The first is the young professional who landed a real paycheck. The second is the empty nester couple whose kids moved out last spring, and that giant three-row hauler in the driveway suddenly feels ridiculous. And the third is the city dweller stuck parking on a tight downtown street where bigger trucks turn into a daily curb-scraping war. But here is the wild part about you that most car reviewers miss. You considered every other option on the planet, and you chose less on purpose, which most American buyers are not emotionally capable of doing in 2026. You want that real Jeep badge, you want around 200 horsepower, you want four-wheel drive standard for when the weather turns mean, and you want just enough cargo room for a serious Costco run. You figured out what the rest of us are still learning the painful way, which is that bigger almost always means more chores and more regret around month 2 of those payment statements. Now hold that money mindset close, because the next Jeep belongs to somebody who runs their life like a walking spreadsheet. The Cherokee driver has a brain built like a calculator and honestly loves every second of it. There is a personality who remembers how much they spent on coffee in March of 2024, who books Airbnbs 6 months early, and who keeps spreadsheets for household expenses their spouse does not even know exist. That same quiet calculator brain walks into a Jeep dealership and walks back out with the brand new Cherokee, every time. Jeep killed the Cherokee off in 2023, closed the Illinois factory, and then brought it roaring back, with a hybrid system pulling a reported 37 miles per gallon combined and over 500 miles on a tank. 2 different buyers are running toward a deal like that. The first is the young suburban parent juggling car seats and daycare drop-offs and a job that refuses to keep up with how expensive everything got. The second is the small business owner who would rather pour those fuel savings back into their company than burn cash commuting to a warehouse 5 days a week. But watch this carefully, because this is the part every car reviewer misses about you. You are immune to sales pressure in every form it takes. Jeep dropped a reported $3.2 billion refreshing this thing, and you care zero about any of that flashy marketing the dealer tries to push on you. You want the badge, you want the four-wheel drive for winter, and you want a fuel bill so low it makes your partner smile when they check the card statement. So calm, so unbothered, so quietly winning in a world that will not shut up about horsepower numbers. But what happens when somebody gets bored of being practical and wants something nobody else on their street has heard about yet? Quick side note, no matter your personality, everyone wants their Jeep to last long term. That's why I put together a simple longevity guide with the exact habits that make the difference. It's linked below if you want to check it out. The Wagoneer S driver gets bored of things faster than literally anybody else you know. Confession time, because I need to be honest with you. The first time I saw a fully electric Jeep pull up to a trailhead with the doors removed and bolted inside the garage back home, my brain glitched. An electric Jeep that crawls real rocks, bro? Make that make sense to me. The Wagoneer S is the only fully electric SUV where you can grab a wrench, unbolt the doors, and drop them on the garage floor before heading out. 600 horsepower coming from dual motors, and it clears the same brutal off-road tests Jeep uses on their gas trucks. You are the future chaser of this list, because you get bored of new things incredibly fast, and you flat out refuse to drive whatever everybody else was driving last year. 2 types fill this seat. The tech worker who owned a Tesla Model Y, then traded it for a Rivian R1S, maybe flirted with a Lucid Air in between, and now desperately wants something nobody in their group chat has parked at home yet. And the former Wrangler owner who got tired of gas stations eating their Saturday morning. You want to know the real reason you love this truck, though? The questions at dinner parties. Every event you attend turns into a 15-minute conversation about how on earth an electric Jeep can possibly climb actual mountain trails, and you live for that attention. The silent torque off the line gives you that futuristic feeling you crave, and the off-road badge gives you bragging rights no Tesla owner will ever touch. But the next personality wants the exact opposite of being early. They want to walk into a hotel valet line and have everybody quietly notice without anybody saying a word. The Grand Wagoneer driver refuses to be just another person in just another Escalade. Quick question to think about. How many Cadillac Escalades did you see the last time you pulled into a nice hotel valet line in any major American city? Now, how many Grand Wagoneers did you see parked in that same lot? Yeah, and that massive gap right there is the reason you bought this truck instead of following the rest of the crowd. You are what I call the quiet king. You got rich on your own terms and your own timeline, and you flat out refused to drive the same status symbol every other wealthy person in your zip code picked up last year. 3 types live inside this seat. The self-made business owner who built something real from nothing and treats their daily vehicle like a personal flag planted firmly in the ground. The big family with serious generational money, 4 or 5 kids, a lake house, a boat that needs hauling every summer, and 0 patience for cramped Escalade third-row seats. And the older couple who cashed out of something huge and decided their final vehicle is going to be the one they love climbing into. Real talk, because you made it this deep into the video and you deserve it. The next 3 personalities flip everything you think you know about Jeep loyalty, and the number 1 slot belongs to a buyer so rare that Jeep killed their truck just to figure out how loyal they were. Smash subscribe so the rest of this lands on your feed instead of disappearing. Now back to the story. Jeep bet a reported $13 billion on people like you, the biggest investment in over 100 years. Wagoneer family sales jumped 67% in Q4 2025 because of buyers just like you. The Grand Cherokee driver officially hit the sweet spot of life and refuses to leave it behind. Ask yourself an honest question. What do you drive when life is working out the way you always wanted it to? When the pure chaos of your 20s is over, but the slowing down years of your 60s are still decades away from landing on your doorstep? You drive a Grand Cherokee, and you officially become what I call a sweet spot settler. The Grand Cherokee has been the top-selling Jeep nameplate in America, outselling every other model combined, which is a wild statistic. 3 types of buyers keep grabbing this thing on repeat, like absolute clockwork. The suburban parent in their late 30s with 2 kids in elementary, a golden retriever, and 1 big yearly road trip out west planned every summer. The empty nest couple who refuse to feel old, so they take the Grand Cherokee 4xe plug-in hybrid out to national parks every long weekend. And the doctor or attorney who needs something composed pulling into the hospital parking lot, but still needs to handle a snowy mountain road up to the cabin on Saturday. Get ready for the weirdest stat, because this one blew my mind. You almost never trade your Grand Cherokee in early. The Grand Cherokee 4xe holds the number 3 PHEV spot in the United States, and December became its strongest retail month in 3 full years. You research everything, you compare every option, but once you pick this one, you stop shopping. Now flip that calm energy upside down, because the next personality cannot sit still through a weekend without building something with their own 2 bare hands. The Gladiator driver cannot sit still, and their garage is honestly completely out of control. Walk into any Gladiator owner's garage anywhere in America, and I promise you will see kayaks hanging from hooks on the ceiling, mountain bikes mounted to the wall on aluminum racks, fishing rods stacked in the back corner, and a fresh roof rack project half built. That garage is somehow louder than the truck itself is. Gladiator sales surged 93% in Q4 2025 compared to the same quarter the year before, which is the kind of insane jump that only happens when one personality type all decides to pull the trigger at the exact same time. You are the restless builder of this list, and you come in 2 main flavors. The weekend warrior who needs a project, a destination, and a truck bed big enough for every piece of gear they own. And the trade professional who needs a real 5-foot steel bed Monday through Friday for the job site, but flat out refuses to drive a boring white work truck out to the lake on Saturday. So what separates you from every other Jeep owner? You are never finished with anything in your whole life. Not the truck, not the trip list on the fridge, not the gear closet in the hallway. The Gladiator lives in a state of becoming because you yourself live in a state of becoming every season. 7,000 pounds of towing capacity, the same legendary frame and axle bones that made the Wrangler famous, and a build sheet that keeps shifting with every new season of your unpredictable life. But the next Jeep belongs to a personality so loud and so confident, the spec sheet barely matters to them. The Wrangler driver refuses to be quiet about who they are, and honestly, good for them. Loud, unpopular opinion coming at you, and you might hate me for this one. The Wrangler is the worst daily driver Jeep makes in the lineup, and you would fight me in a parking lot over that statement. It is bumpy, loud as a lawnmower, and expensive to modify the way you want to, but you love it anyway, and that stubborn loyalty is the point of who you are. The Wrangler 4xe has held the #1 PHEV spot in America for 4 full years now, which is not something you pull off by accident in a market this competitive. 3 types of free-spirited rebels fill this iconic seat. The lifelong Jeep person who grew up watching their dad rip the doors off every summer in the family driveway, and the day they could afford their own felt like a childhood moment 2 decades in the making. The genuine outdoor lover who lives the lifestyle the commercials always show, hiking real trails, camping in real mountains, climbing places where cell signal dies hours ago. And the pure personality buyer who maybe rarely off-roads at all, but loves how the Wrangler makes them feel every time they walk up to it. The Rubicon trim ships from the factory with a worn winch-mounted, 35-inch tires wrapped around the wheels, and a crawl ratio steep enough to climb things most other SUVs would slide right back down from sideways. Fourth quarter 2025 Wrangler sales rose 18% year-over-year. Comfort was never the point of this truck. Self-expression was the whole game from day one in 1986. But the #1 personality wanted the exact opposite of all this loud Wrangler energy, and Jeep had to kill their truck to figure out how rare they were. The Wagoneer driver was the buyer Jeep could not afford to lose. Strangest thing happened quietly in 2025, and almost nobody outside the car industry even caught what went down. Jeep killed off the standard Wagoneer, folded the whole thing into the Grand Wagoneer family, wiped it right off the official website overnight, and the buyers who loved that truck never got a vote on any of it. But the truly wild part is what was happening in the months right before the company pulled the plug on the program. The third quarter saw Wagoneer sales volume surge 122% year-over-year. August and September of that year shattered records back to in dealerships. The fourth quarter then stacked another reported 67% gain on top of all that crazy momentum building. In a luxury SUV market where most full-size competitors throw a party over 2% of annual growth, those numbers exist in a tier almost nobody in the industry touches. So who was lining up at dealerships before those doors closed? 2 types of buyers, and they might be the most underrated humans in the Jeep universe. The quiet executive who runs a real business or holds a seriously senior role somewhere important, but has zero interest in flashy chrome badges screaming for attention. And the multi-generation family driver hauling kids and in-laws and dogs and cargo all at the same time, wanting something warm and welcoming instead of cold and corporate. You wanted everything Jeep stands for as a brand, just without any of the volume turned all the way up. You are the quiet authority version of every promise Jeep ever made in 85 full years of building vehicles. Jeep was born in wartime mud in 1941, and every decade since has gotten louder and bolder with every new release. But you turned out to be the rarest buyer all, and now your beloved Wagoneer is gone from the lineup with nothing else properly filling the massive space it left behind. And that is why you earned the crown at #1 today. So, which one are you? And more importantly, did I get it right? And if you want more breakdowns like this, hit subscribe. There's a lot more coming. See you next time.